I want to welcome you, John, to our show. And the purpose of the show is how do we provide a higher level of value to contractors out there that are in the spray foam industry. And I know you've been what I consider this master level sprayer for a number of years, and you've been in this industry for almost forever. And so I wanted to bring you on the show today to really talk about your experience with applying foam. And today we're going to be talking about residential foam, and to see if you can maybe give some of the applicators out there that are listening to this some tips on what they need to be doing or training on or practicing on, or some other ideas or concepts that you might have that might help them through that initial learning curve that they have when learning how to spray foam. So maybe we could start with, I know that SWD, our company, our big thing is yield. Of how do we get the most yield out of a product? Because we design the products to have the absolute lowest density, which will give the contractors the highest yield. But they also have to, those applicators have to know how to install it. Otherwise, if they don't move fast enough, if they don't, know how to dial it in, if they don't maybe slow down the amount of pressures and maybe lower their mixing chamber size, they might not be able to control the amount of foam coming out of that gun. And then now they got all this waste. And so maybe we could start with that, and talking about that is what are kind of the major things that these applicators need to have an understanding about how to get the most yield out of that product that they're spraying?
Well, I think what I've seen, especially in the last 4 to 5 years, you've got a large influx of new guys coming into the industry, certainly not being trained very well. They might, work with a crew for a week or 3 months, and then they're given their own rig to work with. And a lot of these guys seem to be creatures of habit. George taught me this is the temperature, this is the pressure, and this is how I spray. What I have found over the years, though, is you can take 15 different guys and they can all spray everything exactly the same, and you'll get 15 different yields out of it. I think a lot of people don't experiment enough with their own unique style. They don't tweak temperatures to see maybe their arm speed and their pressures would be a bit more adequate if they had maybe higher temperatures or lower temperatures. But I think the biggest thing I'm seeing is too many guys spraying a material too cool, trying to control depth of the growth of it through lower temperatures.
Is that part of that whole process that you guys kind of have coined dialing in a foam, or how do you dial it in? And can you maybe walk me through what that looks like, of what a contractor needs to be doing to really understand that aspect of spray foam?
I don't think a lot of people do dial it in. Like I said, it seems to be one size fits all for them. Same pressure, same temperatures as yesterday, the day before, and 6 months ago. I used to change temperatures and pressures, mixing chamber tip, multiple times a day based on what I could see the foam doing or not doing. And I think what these contractors need to do is set aside some time for the applicator to truly get comfortable with the foam. It may be a day, a week, or 2 weeks to where they can learn the foam and how it reacts to that certain substrate under those conditions with those processing parameters. And I don't think enough of these guys are given that time to do that.
Now, that being said, is it that much more important whenever someone's using a foam for the first time, or a foam that they've only been using for a week or two, to really have an understanding of what is that kind of baseline reading, that they're not using the same temperature and pressure settings that they've been using with that other product for who knows how long?
Well, I've seen it where these guys have used the same temperatures, and when I ask them to turn those temperatures up, they're, well, no, we don't ever do that. But yet, when I do it to them, they're, wow, I didn't know the foam can do that. It expanded a lot more, and now you can move a lot faster. So I really think that, people need to experiment a little bit with it, try those different temperatures, higher temperatures. I'm a big fan of hotter. Hotter's better in my eyes than colder is.
Why is hotter better?
Yeah, you get much more yield out of that foam. When you spray a colder product or cooler product, you're increasing the density of that product. You're not getting the rise out of it that you could if you even turn it up another 5 or 10 degrees. And not enough people do that. They like that cooler foam. It doesn't react as fast, doesn't grow as much. And they think, well, I'm going to have less that I have to shave off in the end.
So it's kind of a balance of how much they can control versus
actually getting the yield out of it. And so they're trying to have better control by dropping the temperature. Is that kind of what you're seeing out there?
Absolutely is.
Is there a better way to control how much? Because to me, that then if that's the case, then that's probably not the right thing to do, right? Shouldn't they more of, how do you restrict the flow of material coming out? Is that more from pressure settings and mixing chamber size?
Yeah, just drop, tip or mixing chamber size. Just go down one size. See, I've seen people using an AR-6060 to do a 2x4 wall with open cell. You're going to have a lot more waste doing it that way. You suggest dropping down to a tip 1 or 2 sizes smaller, and the applicators just roll their eyes. Well, it's going to take me too long to finish the job. Well, in actuality, it doesn't take that much longer when you're doing a typical residential house at all.
Yeah, and that's part of the advantage of some of these higher yield products. We're pushing out, a yield monster that can reach as high as 26,000 board feet as a maximum install. And that's what the guys, they're not used to that. And so they say, well, it's going to take me longer. And it's like, well, no, you don't understand that, a 0.36 product expands, 39% more than your 0.5 product. And so you're getting 39% more volume out of the same amount of liquid. So you can restrict the amount of liquid coming out of that gun and still have the same speed or feel like it's the same speed. Is that kind of accurate?
Yes, it is. But you'll still get the people that they want to stick with that larger mixing chamber. So they're willing to move, maybe a little bit faster, but still have significant more amount of foam to trim off than they would if they would have dropped down 1 or 2 mixing chamber sizes.
Yeah, and then if they're doing a roof deck, they can't, unless they're stabbing that with a depth gauge, sometimes it's hard for them to tell that they're overfilling by an inch or two. And then all of a sudden, hey, how come my final yield, my installed yield is only, 18, 19, 20,000 board feet? I thought I was going to get 24,000 out of this. Well, you did. You just left it in the roof deck and you shaved it off. And and so, yeah, it's
I've done that myself over the years. So I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah, you just gave the homeowner a nice insulation package that they didn't pay for entirely.
Yeah, a bonus insulation package.